Welcome to today's episode where we're going to be talking about how your lower body drains. So it's going to be from the belly button all the way down to your feet. Now this is super, super important, especially if you are somebody that does things like manual massage, using your hands, dry brushing, using gua sha. All of those are super, super beneficial. And when we're moving lymphatic fluid in the vessels, we have to know where that fluid is moving to in order to drain. So make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to put it all together for you. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Czezowski. I'm a certified functional medicine practitioner, and I've been doing and teaching lymphatic drainage since about 2010. So I've had my hands on a lot of people, and I've talked lymphatic drainage with a ton of people. And when you finally understand what the heck is happening, it makes it so much easier. Now, why I'm doing this video is because I hear all the time, I'm doing lymphatic drainage, I'm doing dry brushing, I'm doing manual massage, but I'm not seeing the benefits. What is going on? Well, normally what is happening, and don't get me wrong, there's a variety of things that could be going on, but what I always start with is pressure, location, direction. So pressure is how hard are you pushing? Lymphatic drainage is pretty gentle. It is not a deep tissue massage. It's not even like a Swedish massage. It's lighter than that. So pressure is really important. The order in which you do things is very important. That's why when I talk about the specific 7, I teach them in the order in which we're supposed to do them. And that's how they're numbered. So 1, you start at 1 and you go all the way to 7 and you always finish with 1. We'll talk about that. But if you don't know what the heck I'm talking about, go watch these videos. It'll teach you where they are. It'll teach you how to find them. It'll teach you all the things. This one, what we're talking about is where the fluid in your vessels drains. So I talked about upper body in the other video. Today is all lower body. And this is one that can get a little tricky. Why? Because of where we move part of the fluid. So our lower body is going to be from our belly button all the way to our toes. It's our lower body. Now, what you need to know is it's the same thing. Our body is split into different quadrants. So imagine cutting your body down the center into left and right. Then you cut it above your clavicle so that you have your head in 2 parts, left and right part of your head. Then you have a cut right above your belly button, which then splits us into right and left upper torso, ultimately. And then we have the lower part. So from our belly button down, we have our right and left legs with like part of our lower abdomen. Now, why this is really important and where things get a little confusing is you still open up the lymph nodes in the same order. It's really important to open up the lymph nodes because remember, if lymph nodes are congested, it's like having a closed door. You cannot get fluid to go through that door if those lymph nodes are hard, congested, and fluid just isn't flowing. So once you do the lymph nodes and then you go and you're trying to move fluid, what most people are taught is move fluid to your heart. I'm here to tell you that's not accurate. Yes, the fluid returns to your heart, but it returns to your heart after it drains at your clavicles. Now, here's the crazy part about the part of the body we're talking about today. From our belly button and below, all of that fluid, so both the right and the left side, all drains at our left clavicle, all of it. That means there is roughly like 60% of our lymphatic fluid, 60 to like 70% of our lymphatic fluid is draining at our left collarbone, just from the lower part of the body. That's not even taking into consideration the left part of our face and chest. When we think about it that way, roughly like 75 to 80% of our lymphatic fluid is draining at our left collarbone. Now let's talk about how that works. So from the belly button below, all the way down to our pubic bone, the fluid here needs to drain down to the groin lymph nodes. That means that if you are doing like manual massage, let's just do manual massage. If we're doing manual massage and we're bringing the fluid up, it's not actually draining because this fluid has to drain down in order for it to be able to drain up. I will explain that in just a second. So the fluid in our lower abdomen drains down into that side, groin lymph node. That applies to your lower back, your butt, your quad, as you can see, the hamstrings, the calf, everything. All of this drains into the groin. So what that means is the abdomen, the lower part from our belly button down, we have to move that fluid down into the groin, but then the fluid in our leg, we have to move it up to the groin. So just think like where your body is relative to the groin. If you have to get the fluid there, that's the direction that you're moving the fluid. This part right here, this right here is the part that people get the most confused with, and they just end up bringing it up. This is one of the reasons why so many people still have lymphatic congestion in their lower abdomen. And that can be like bloating, that can be PMS issues, that could be like uterine issues, ovary issues, like all of those things. And there's some fascinating research out there about how the lymphatic system influences those sex organs. But what I'm getting at is if you're doing lymphatic drainage and you're bringing it up, you're missing the boat. Why? This fluid, when it goes into the groin, once it's in the groin, it actually dives deep into our abdominal cavity and runs along our spine. And what it's doing is it's actually going into what's called the thoracic duct. The thoracic duct is ultimately collecting majority of the fluid from our lower abdomen, our internal organs, and our legs, and bringing it up our body and draining it at our left clavicle or left termini. So if you're not bringing that fluid from your lower abdomen down into the groin, that fluid in your lower abdomen doesn't have the ability to get into the thoracic duct and move its way up to the termini. Wild, isn't it? This is why I am such a stickler for understanding order, direction, and pressure. When one of those is missing, you're going to get less than great results when it comes to lymphatic drainage. Now let's talk real quickly, super quickly, about once the fluid gets into the groin, whether it's coming from our lower abdomen or it's coming from our leg, once it's in the groin, how does it go from the groin to our termini? How do we move it? Because we physically can't touch our vertebrae, like our spinal cord, right? We can't get that deep. How do we move it? Diaphragmatic breathing. That's why diaphragmatic breathing, that belly breathing, is so important, because it's the diaphragm that's coming up and down and your belly coming out and in that helps pump all of that fluid, all of the fluid from your belly button to your toes, both legs, remember, to the left termini. So if you're not seeing results, check 1, where you're moving the fluid, and check 2, are you belly breathing? Are you diaphragmatic breathing? Because if you're not, you are going to have an accumulation of fluid, whether it's in your lower abdomen or your legs or your ankles or your knee or wherever in the lower body. It's just because it doesn't have the ability to drain. I hope this was informative. Let me know if these elementary school drawings make it easier for you to understand the lymphatic system drainage and how you can implement it in your routines at home. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Happy draining.